adventures.
All right, welcome guys. We are going to go over my list of the top 4 Wildcat pistol cartridges and what they are in order. Now, a Wildcat pistol cartridge I consider something that's not quite mainstream. Different companies partner together sometimes and they develop these new cartridges in trying to make something new. Now, if the 30 Super Carry is not going to make this list because that was an epic fail, it just doesn't make sense. I'd rather have 9mm plus P extreme penetrators in my 9mm in NATO round. They need to do something a little bit better than 30 Super Carry if they're going to come up with a new round to kind of replace that niche of carry. So I also want to say that companies need to do better and kind of replicate what is going on with rifle rounds. The Wildcat rifle rounds, especially lately, are amazing. Now, a good example is the 280 Ackley Improved. That's been around for a couple decades, and that was an amazing rifle round. It is a Wildcat. It's not super available, but you can find it in sometimes even big box stores. I know during the pandemic I had trouble finding it, but amazing rifle round. But just in the last few years, especially with the 7mm PRC, just it's thankful. I'm thankful for all the precision rifle shooters because that's what has been driving this. Is they want a better coefficient, better ballistics, and companies took a look at that, with all the precision rifle shooting going on. And so they created, started with the Creedmoor and then the PRC line, 7mm PRC, 300 PRC. I got to shoot a 300 PRC. Was one of those Fury rifles. Steve Bresnos brought it up here. I watched him shoot a caribou with it, and I mean that thing kicked so hard, but the ballistics were just so amazing on that. So even with the 6.8, just all kinds of things. Some of the straight wall cartridges, rifle companies and cartridge companies putting out these rifle rounds are doing a really good job. So with pistols, we've seen some cool things, but a lot of it is a little older, and I haven't seen a really cool new round. That FK Bruno round really looks good. That has my attention. So let's just start off with my number 4. I'm going to say is the 40 Super. Now, 40 Super has been around for at least 15 years, and this is a Glock 21 I have chambered in 40 Super, and I'm really happy with this project. This was a recent project. I have a couple videos on it, but what they did is they took a 45 ACP case, necked it down to fit a 40 cal bullet, and they are just able to put a lot of power. So this is a typical round is going to be 100 feet per second more than 10mm. So they could have called it 10mm Super, but it is in a 45 ACP case, so you're losing some capacity for sure. That's why I have it in a Glock 21, but this fits my Glock 20 chest holster because it's the same frame. It's a Barstow barrel, so I definitely recommend Barstow. This was a barrel that you had to fit, so I did have a gunsmith, Denali Arms LLC, fit that. As you can see, Barstow 40 Super. So great round. I'm very excited about this. A little bit harder to find, especially if you're in Alaska. I did get a couple boxes off the shelf last year and swooped them up, but I am planning on getting more of this ammo. So that's number 4, 40 Super. Number 3, I am going to have to say is 460 Rowland. Now, this has been around for a long time. This has been around for several decades, and it's very popular in Alaska. I can actually find all the 460 Rowland I want because it's so popular in Alaska for bear protection. Now, this was developed by Rowland, and this is an FNX 45 tactical. that has the 460 Rowland barrel installed by 460 Rowland shop themselves. So we see authentic 460 Rowland. And what this round does is replicate almost the power of a 444 Magnum in a semi-auto. So not quite, definitely not full power 44 Magnum, but you are getting on the low end. So we've got 1,300 feet per second with a 230 grain projectile. And I do have some hard cast mixed in with this box, but very hard hitting. I have had really good luck with the pistols and 460 Rowland. Number 2 is going to be 45 Super. Now I typically shoot 45 Super out of my HK USP 45, but that is currently with the gunsmith Denali Arms LLC because he's cutting the slide and putting an optic on it. Very excited about that. I do shoot 45 Super out of this 460 Rowland build. However, I take it a step more and I will shoot 45 Super Plus P, which is on par with the 40 Super in terms of power, but it is a larger diameter bullet because they've kept it, you know, a 45 bullet. So I've got some hard cast here. You know, I'm getting 900 foot-pounds of energy with really hot 45 Super Plus P. Regular 45 Super is comparable to 10 millimeter, but of course, like I said, you've got a larger diameter bullet. So number 2 is definitely 45 Super. And what I like about it is you can shoot it out of your stock HK USP 45. I wouldn't shoot it out of HK 45. Some people do. Some people will even shoot this out of a Glock 21. I wouldn't recommend it. So 45 Super is number 2, and number 1 has just about made it mainstream, and that is the 357 SIG. So I have a Glock 23 here, originally chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, and as you can see, I got the Lone Wolf, Alpha Wolf barrel that is a 357 SIG drop-in barrel. I've got the extra barrel length. Just the ballistics you get with 357 SIG is unbelievable, and thankfully it's becoming more mainstream. We've had a couple high-profile defensive incidents. One a few years ago was in a church where the guy had his SIG. It was like a P226 in 357 SIG, bottlenecked, just like the 45 Super, so it feeds very reliably. I've got extreme penetrators here, one of my favorite rounds, but it was used by the air marshals, a lot of law enforcement. It was developed in, I want to say the 80s. Not early, yeah, it was the 80s still when it was developed, and it was for law enforcement. One of the reasons why I love it so much is my buddy, who was a deputy in Mississippi, used 357 SIG on the job, and he just raves about it. He has seen it in use against bad guys, especially penetrating car doors and barriers, and so he carries it personally as his personal weapon. He requested his duty weapon when he left. He was able to leave with it when he left the force, and he continues to carry 357 SIG to this day. Now there's so many options, and it's almost mainstream, like I said, because I can go to a big box store and usually find at least 2 brands of 357 SIG on the shelf available. So besides this Glock 23 build, I have a Shield, Smith & Wesson Shield M2.0, and I've got it in 357 SIG with the Rem Sport barrel. This has been 100% reliable. There you go, 40 357 SIG. So this is a Shield in 40 Smith & Wesson, drop-in barrel, and now I'm able to carry 357 SIG ammo, and I've gotten great ballistics, even with this teeny little barrel, and I even put a Mag Guts spring in here, so I'm actually getting 7 plus 1. So I'm getting 8 rounds out of this teeny little pocket pistol. I mean, this is the size of a lot of micro 9s you get nowadays, but I've just got way more power. I've got it in a Harry's holster infiltrator, and this is my summer carry. It just conceals so well. But 357 SIG, I mean, you can almost argue that it's not a Wildcat anymore, but it's definitely not universal because, you know, it's not as popular as other rounds, and you don't see it as much. But thankfully, I can really stock up on 357 SIG ammo. I've heard some people complain about it, but I'm able to find it every time I go to a big box store or gun shop. You know, even right now, I can buy some 357 SIG ammo. The ballistics are amazing. It was developed to shoot a 125 grain projectile, roughly 1,300 feet per second. So they tried to produce 357 Magnum velocities and power out of a semi-auto. And it doesn't quite reach the power of a really hot 357 Magnum, but they came close, and it definitely just way beats 9mm most of the other options out there. I will say 40 Smith & Wesson, you can get smaller diameter bullets and you know, come close to that power. And I will be putting the 40 Smith & Wesson, I do have another Lone Wolf barrel in this, and using 40 a little bit more just because I ordered a easy lock mount from Griffin Armament, so I will be, you know, shooting this suppressed more, and 40 Smith & Wesson just makes more sense as I can get subsonic, you know, factory rounds that will be nice and quiet, while 357 SIG, some people suppress it, but it's a little harder to do. This is a very fast moving projectile, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to suppress it. But with 40, that is going to be a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think. I say 357 SIG is king when it comes to the Wildcat rounds, and we really need to encourage these firearm companies and ammunition manufacturers to come up with new and innovative rounds like the rifle industry is doing, because if they did that, boy, that would be amazing. So let me know what you guys think. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, don't get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10mm. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you almost die every time, guaranteed.